What if the biggest obstacle between you and wealth is not your job, not your education, and not the economy? What if the real obstacle is something happening quietly inside your own mind? Stay with me until the end of this video, because in the final minutes, I'm going to reveal one psychological pattern that silently keeps millions of people financially stuck for decades. And once you see it, you'll start noticing it everywhere. If you enjoy content about hidden psychology behind money and behavior, take a second to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And make sure you watch until the end, because the final insight is the most important part. Most people believe wealth is about opportunity. They believe rich people simply had better circumstances, better connections, better timing, better luck. And while those things matter, they don't explain the full story. Because something strange happens when you observe people over a long period of time. Two people can start from very similar positions, similar education, similar income, similar environment. They may even work in the same company. At first, their lives look almost identical. But 10 years later, everything is different. One person has built stability, savings, investments, options. The other person is still living month to month, still stressed about money, still waiting for something to change. So what actually creates this gap? It's not intelligence. It's not talent. And surprisingly, it's often not even effort. Many people who struggle financially work incredibly hard. The real difference is something far less visible. Time horizon. Most people make decisions based on the next few weeks. Some people make decisions based on the next few years. And a very small number of people make decisions based on the next decade. This difference quietly shapes everything. Imagine two people receiving extra money. The first person spends it almost immediately. A better phone, a night out, a small upgrade to their lifestyle. Nothing extreme, nothing irresponsible, just something that feels rewarding right now. The second person pauses. They think differently. Instead of asking, "What can this buy today?" they ask a different question. "What can this become later?" That single question changes behavior. Instead of spending, they invest. Instead of upgrading lifestyle, they build capacity. Instead of chasing immediate satisfaction, they create future leverage. And that small difference repeats hundreds of times across a lifetime. Each decision looks tiny, almost insignificant. But over time, the gap becomes enormous. Here's the uncomfortable part. The human brain is not naturally built for long-term thinking. Our ancestors evolved in environments where survival depended on immediate action. Food now, safety now, pleasure now. Waiting was dangerous. Delaying reward could mean losing the opportunity entirely. But modern financial life works in the opposite way. The people who delay reward the longest often accumulate the most power. But delaying reward is emotionally uncomfortable. Saving feels slow. Investing feels boring. Building wealth feels invisible. There are no dramatic moments, no applause, no immediate excitement, just quiet repetition. And repetition is psychologically exhausting, especially when progress is invisible. Imagine planting a tree. For years, nothing impressive happens above the ground. It barely grows. It barely changes. But underground, the root system expands. It spreads deeper, stronger, wider. When the tree finally grows taller, it's because the invisible work was already done. Wealth works exactly the same way. For long periods of time, nothing dramatic seems to happen. You save small amounts. You invest slowly. You repeat simple habits. And it feels insignificant. But underneath the surface, systems are forming. Savings grow. Investments compound. Opportunities expand. And one day the difference becomes visible. But by that point, the habits are already years old. This is why many people believe wealth appears suddenly. They see the result, but they didn't see the decade of quiet discipline behind it. Now here's the psychological trap. When progress is invisible, the brain begins questioning the effort. Is this even working? Maybe I should just enjoy the money now. Maybe this slow path isn't worth it. And that thought destroys momentum. Because wealth is less about intelligence and more about consistency. Small decisions repeated thousands of times. Choosing discipline over impulse. Choosing patience over stimulation. Choosing long-term stability over short-term excitement. None of those choices feel dramatic in the moment, but over time, they create massive separation. There's another reason many people struggle to build wealth. Modern life constantly encourages short-term thinking. Everything is instant. Food arrives instantly. Entertainment appears instantly. Information appears instantly. Even social approval appears instantly through likes and comments. We are surrounded by systems designed to deliver quick rewards. And when the brain becomes used to instant reward cycles, slow processes start to feel unbearable. Investing feels slow. Saving feels pointless. Building something long-term feels frustrating. So many people abandon the process. Not because it doesn't work, but because it doesn't feel exciting. And excitement has become addictive. This is why people chase things like sudden trading profits, lottery tickets, or risky speculation. Because those things offer emotional intensity. But emotional intensity is not the same as progress. Real progress is often quiet, boring, repetitive. And that's exactly why so few people stick with it. Now here's the final insight I promised at the beginning. The difference between people who eventually build wealth and people who stay financially stuck is not opportunity. It's tolerance for slow progress. Some people can tolerate slow growth. Others need constant stimulation. But money compounds slowly. It grows in silence, not in bursts of excitement. If you can tolerate that silence, you gain a massive advantage. Because while others chase quick wins, you are building systems. And systems compound. At first, they look small. Then they become noticeable. And eventually, they become unstoppable. So if your progress feels slow, that might actually be a sign you're doing it right. Because the systems that create real freedom are rarely dramatic. They are steady, predictable, and invisible. Until one day they aren't. If this video changed how you think about wealth and patience, like the video and subscribe. Because understanding money is not just about numbers. It's about understanding human psychology. And once you understand that, you start playing a completely different game.